What is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I am still coming at you from the drop yard in Laredo, Texas. I wasn't expecting to be here this long, but they say they should have something for me coming up pretty soon. So, in last Friday's meeting, they were talking about weighing your truck and scaling your load and everything like that. And I think a lot of people were blowing that out of proportion. So I had somebody ask me how often I weigh my load. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Before I get to that, a couple things I wanted to talk about. First thing is, sometimes you wonder if what you're saying really makes a difference to anybody. And lately I've been seeing people that have got in contact with me that made me think that, you know what, at least I'm doing a little bit of good out here, so that makes me feel good. Next thing I want to talk about is, I talked to a lot of people at Prime, from PSD students all the way up to people with 23, 25 years. And yesterday when I was up here, I met one of my favorite people at Prime. His name is Tom Withers. You might have, if you watch the Prime videos, you may have seen him in the Friday safety meeting maybe about a month ago. They brought him up in front of the meeting, and he's at about 24 years at Prime. And he's one of the first, I think he might have been the first old timer at Prime that really came up to me and kind of started at least a relationship where we talk when we see each other. So Tom, if you happen to be watching this video, it's always good seeing you out here. But let's just talk about the scale thing. I think what they were trying to say, people kind of blew it out of proportion. I don't think that he took it the way that a lot of people took it. Basically, what I thought that the guy was saying was, if you're under a load and you're trying to scale it, if your front gauge is at 34,000 pounds, then the back has to be right? Now, in theory, I think that works. That's if you aren't getting overloaded. Now, before I even get into that, I've actually scaled a load under my own volition, maybe one time at Prime. I scaled another time or two more times to prove that I was overweight, because my gauges said I was overweight. And I think I scaled twice. I think I scaled once to get an empty weight on truck and trailer full of fuel and all that kind of stuff. And then I think I might have scaled one more time just to get the weight on my truck, so I knew what the max was I could carry. Both those times that I scaled and I said I was overweight, it was a formality because I knew I was overweight. So I think I've maybe scaled 5 times. Why don't I scale? It's a waste of my time, first of all. Just going out of my way to scale, half the time I don't even want to fill up a reefer when I first get it, let alone stop at a scale. So that's the first reason I don't do it. Second reason I don't do it is that I am going to trust my gauge, at least on my truck. The trailer gauge is just kind of more or less for me. I mean, it's great if it's accurate. If it's not, I don't really worry about it that much. Now, could I get caught? Possibly. If there's a load that's 45,000 pounds or something like that, maybe. Or if it says it's 45,000 and it's more, then maybe. But I'm not gonna just, if I was to scale, I might scale in those instances, but I'm certainly not gonna scale every load, and I'm certainly not gonna scale anything that says it's gonna be under 40,000 pounds. So I could be wrong, and some people are gonna say it's your CDL. Well, maybe my career is gonna be so short in this that I'm willing to take some risks or something like that. But I'm definitely not going to spend the time or the money to scale every load. That's my thoughts on it. Like I said, my thoughts aren't always the right thoughts. Another thing I want to talk about, somebody asked what no hippie means. I brought it up a bunch of times, but I don't expect everybody to go back and watch every single one of my videos. But no hippie was a phrase that a guy used to use when I was in the Marine Corps. Every time that somebody would give us a task to do or about to figure out a task for us to do, used to always say they better not have us out here doing no hippie shit. So it just kind of stuck in the back of my head. That's kind of how I came up with it. And then, you know, the peace symbol and all that kind of stuff was to kind of soften it up so nobody would think that I don't like hippies. So that's another thing. And then, you know, as far as the comment that I made in my last video where I was talking about, you know, most truck drivers identifying as Republicans, that whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, that doesn't really matter to me. Some of my best friends, and I'm talking about some of my best friends, are Republicans. So I've never really concerned myself with what somebody's political affiliation is. My point was, if you're going to say that I'm a Republican and you're, you know, Republicans typically are going to be against regulation and all that kind of stuff, you can't play the victim and want regulation when things aren't going your way. So that was my point in that. And I think somebody asked, you know, what my political affiliation is. It really doesn't matter. I mean, I would say Democrat, but in terms of, there's some things I'm conservative about, there's some things I'm liberal about, you know, as far as fiscal responsibility, things like that. I would say I'm more, you know, on the put it this way, I'm more conservative than most Republicans that are talking about they're trying to be conservative when it comes to finances and stuff like that. But, you know, liberal as far as, you know, and I don't care if you're gay, straight, transsexual, you know, if you believe in God, don't believe in God, I'm kind of live as you let live. So that's kind of my beliefs on that. And my friends that have different views, and a lot of times our views aren't necessarily different, it's just what one of us is calling each other, if it's going to come down to that. I've never had a problem with close friends having discussions when it comes to a difference in politics. Now, when it does happen, it's when you aren't with somebody that's a friend that's trying to bang you over the head with your views, or maybe I'm trying to do the same thing to them. So don't really want to get into politics. I just wanted to dip my toe into that pool just to clarify a few things, but hopefully I'll be getting a load out of here soon. I didn't think that I was going to be waiting about 24 hours. So at some point I'm just going to, I'm kind of in a rock and a hard place. I think they were short on trailers right now. And some of the trailers, I don't know if they're loaded or where they're going, but I saw a couple people leave with trailers. If I just had a trailer on me right now, I would just say, you know what, tell me where to deadhead. I know we got some places that are near here. I just go there and get it. But since I don't have a trailer, I can't do that. Anyway, enough about that. I appreciate you stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. As always, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.